Happy morning, dear students. Today's we will discuss about the disorders of feet and then legs. Here the this condition is comes under the musculoskeletal system. Okay, here previous class we discussed about what are the bones, what is cartilage, and then what is the physical assessment, gross motor assessment, and then we'll learn about the pediatric musculoskeletal system and everything, diagnostic evaluations about cast we discussed previous class. Today onwards we will discuss about the disorders of parts of the body, okay, under the musculoskeletal system. First is feet and then leg disorders. Okay, first condition is metatarsus adducts. Here the metatarsus adducts means it is a condition, means look at this image first. Okay, here the normal foot of the baby, here the abnormal, that is a metatarsus adducts. Okay, here the metatarsus adducts means how it is there means here the tarsal bones of the feet is there, no, it is contracted. Okay, it is flexed, some deformity is there compared to the normal. Okay, it is turned towards, okay, midline, but mostly the deformity is there in the metatarsus, but at the heel of the foot it is the normal, it is there. Okay, so this is called as metatarsus adducts. Means the most common congenital foot deformity, the ratio is 1 in 1000 bars. This condition may affect with the children. uh, what is metatarsus adducts means inward turning of the forefoot at the inspect. Okay, and in toeings, here it mostly it is there in the inward or turning of the 4 feet. Okay, back side of the foot it is the normal is there. Okay, 4 feet only having inward turning. Okay, it is there. Okay, hind foot is not affected. Here the hind foot it is not affected, it is a genetic factor, intrauterine positioning, some problems it is there with that. Okay, foot can be manually straightened out. Okay, by manually we will straighten that this problem. But it is a congenital or genetic factor is there, it is a congenital deformity of the foot is. Okay, and here look at this, here the metatarsus adducts treatment. What is the treatment means it is depending upon the degree of the foot flexibility, how far the foot is having flexible. Okay, for example, this is the normal, here the metatarsus bones are normally present in the newborn baby, but here the metatarsus adducts, here the metatarsus bones are turned towards. Okay, some flexion is there, bending towards forward it is there. So the hind foot is good, normally it is there, normal position it is there, but the metatarsus side what happens, some the adducts is there, means here some inward, okay, turn inward for it is there. Okay, here it is a with using of serial casting. I said no, casting means application of protect the bones or internal organs. Okay, if any fracture is there we are using the cast with the POP, no. Here for this management or treatment of this metatarsus adducts, treatment is serial casting, each used to strengthen the forefoot to a more neutral position. Okay, they are using cast for this deformity. By using of this cast, serial cast, the more we will get replace the normally. Okay, this is about the metatarsus treatment. Okay, next one is cleft foot. Okay, cleft foot means here the cleft foot, it is a congenital talipes equinovarus, means here the club, here the club is there, the foot is having some club, it is a congenital malformation affecting the foot, ankle, lower leg is there. Look at here the turn inwards. Okay, here how it is, what are the parts is involved here, it is a congenital malformation affecting the foot, ankle, and then legs, lower leg also is affected. The tissue, the true structural defects is there. Okay, here it cannot be straightened. Okay, but metatarsus adducts we will straighten, but here cannot be straightened. Okay, they the three their areas are midfoot is there. Okay, here the midfoot direct downwards, that is called as equinus. Next, second one is uh, first one is the mid foot, second one is hind foot turn inwards, that is varus, and then forefoot curls towards the heel is there, that is adducts. I said no, adducts. First metatarsus adducts, forefoot it is not there in the metatarsus, but here the adducts in the forefoot is there. Okay, total three areas is there, that is mid, hind foot, and then forefoot. Midfoot it is called as equinus. Okay, and midfoot, hind foot it is called as varus, and forefoot circle towards the heel, that is called as adduction. Okay, this is about the three types of areas of the cleft foot. Okay, first we will check about the cleft foot. Look at this image. The cleft, CLUB, club foot is present here, means it is involves the lower limb and then ankles and then feet also is there. It is a genetic predisposition is there. Multifactorial etiology is present with this cleft foot. The ratio, incidence rate is 1:1000 births it is there. The male and female ratio is 2:1. Maybe unilateral or bilateral is there. Unilateral, one side only, one leg only is having this cleft foot, but another sometimes it is, and bilateral is there. In this picture bilateral is there, both sides of the feet is having club foot. Okay, male children only most affect with than the females. Apparent at the birth itself we will recognize that child is having club foot or not. And cleft foot casting, look at this image, they are using the cast with using of POP. The treatment begins as soon as after birth as possible. They will keep the POPs. It is a serial manipulations and casting weekly for 8 to 12 weeks, mostly for remolding of this some club foot. They will use the casting. How many weeks means 8 to 12 weeks. It is a variable response also is there, and recurrence is common, but after that the recurrence also is there. Okay, the long term follow up also is needed for those children who are suffering with the cleft foot. Surgery may be necessary if his casting is unsuccessful. If whenever they are using this POP, that is a casting, that time also the child is suffering, we go for, they has to, after casting only baby is not getting normal food, that time they needs those children surgical intervention is needed. Okay, and cleft foot surgery. Okay, look at this picture, the surgical intervention of cleft foot before surgery and after surgical intervention also, how the baby is having legs. The surgery is required if manipulation does not correct the cleft foot. Okay, they are using any cast, that time also it is not there, they are using for the surgical intervention, they go for that surgical intervention is done within 3 to 12 months of age group only. Here the releasing tight ligaments of the lightening. Okay, here the lengthening of the tendons and allow the bones to adopt a normal position. Okay, here they are tighten, sometimes tightening of the ligaments is there. Okay, they are lengthening of the tendons because they are doing with this surgical procedure. So the foot is seldom completely normal after the treatment it is there. Okay, this is about the surgical intervention of the cleft foot. When they need surgical intervention within 3 to 12 months of age itself only, they are doing the cleft foot surgery. Okay, I said no, what is genu varum and then genu valgum. Here the genu varum means genu varum means, look at this image here. Here the leg is the widening of the legs is there. Whenever we are observing the feet is joined together, but the limbs, where the knee part area is widening is there. Okay, this is called as bowlegs. Okay, that is called as genu varum. It is a bowlegs is there. Genu valgum means knocked knees. Both knees are joined together. Knees joined together. That is called as knocked knees. Okay, look at here. Genu varum means bow legs. Here the knees are widely separated and lower legs turns inwards. Okay, here the knees are. Look at this image. The knees are widely, the lower legs are turns inwards. So this is called as bow legs. These are the knocked knees. That is called as genu valgum. Valgum means knocked knees. Here the knees are closed together and lower legs directed outwards. Okay, that is called as genu valgum. These are the viva questions. What is genu varum and then genu valgum? Genu valgum, it is a knocked knee. Genu varum, it is a bow legs. Okay, you should remember by observing of these images. You should remember yourself. Okay, sorry. And next, Junovarum bowlex, normal 2 to 3 years of age. Beyond the abnormals, we will recognize. Within 2 to 3 years only, we will rule out, and then we will treat for that. The causes is blunt brown disease or rickets. Some many vitamin deficiency diseases only we will observe this bowlex. And Genu valgum, it is a knocked knees. Normally 4 to 5 years of age group only we will rule out for those children. Here the beyond that it is having abnormal. Okay, the treatment is most results on bone. The brass also is needed for this knocked knees. Okay, uh, osteotomy and then casting is needed for those children who are having knocked knees. Okay, this that is about the disorders of feet and then legs. All of you clear? And next is the disorders of hip. Okay, we will learn about the next condition, that is disorders of hips. Okay, developmental dysplasia of the hip, that is DDH condition. DDH means developmental dysplasia of the hip. It is a congenital abnormality of the hip socket. Here the hip socket is having ball and socket joint is there, no? Formerly it is a congenital hip dysplasia 1 to 2 by 1000 births itself. Those children is suffering with this, and most commonly it is a congenital defect. The females are most common than the males. Here the ratio is 4:1. Genetic predisposition is there, and then multifactorial etiology. It is associated with any child is delivered with the breech or very large baby spina bifida and then cerebral palsy conditions also. Those children is suffering with the DDH, developmental dysplasia of the hip. It is a congenital defect is there. Okay, what is DDH? Developmental dysplasia of the hip. Here the brass are using for those children. Okay, to replace the ball and socket joint. Okay, and DDH, the formal head either comes out the hip socket, that is acetabulum. Here the acetabulum is there, no? Here the acetabulum or does not fit properly in the ball and socket joint. This acetabulum was not fit in this ball and socket joint, so the displacement is there. Because of that they termed as a dysplasia of the. Okay, here the hip bone is there. Okay, and then here mild and moderate or severe conditions is there, usually affects with the one joint only, one side of the hip only they are getting this deformity. Okay, this is about the DDH. And normal H versus the DDH conditions. Look at this image. This is the normal, the ball and socket joint is present. Okay, here the femur of the head. Okay, it is present normally. Okay, but here in DDH condition, developmental dysplasia of the hip conditions, the acetabulum was not fit in that ball and socket joint, so child is suffering with the displacement of the developmental dysplasia of the hip is there. Okay, that is about the normal versus the DDH conditions. Okay, what are the symptoms is there in the developmental dysplasia of the hip? Means it is an asymmetry gluteal folds is there. When we are observing the gluteal region, it is an asymmetry, it is not asymmetrical. Okay, affected with the one shoulder. Sometimes one shoulder also is there. Ball and socket joint, shoulder joint and then hip joint it is there, no? Here the affects with the legs, and then sometimes here the affected with the leg shorter. Okay, here child is suffering, one leg is short compared to the another leg, and then limited abductions and limited ROM, range of motion is there. Hips can fully spread is there. The turn towards the externally to rotate is there. Okay, it is a difference in the knees height also is there. One knee is down, one leg length is more compared to the another leg. Okay, neatly. Okay, some asymmetry is there. Okay, in the gluteal folds only we will check that is affected with the leg shorter. Okay, ఒక కాలు పెద్దగా ఒక కాలు చిన్నగా ఉంటుంది వీళ్ళకి. Okay, this is about the DDH symptoms. And older children, so the gait is abnormalities is there, such as toe walking or limping. Okay, here or the level of pelvis and maybe unequal. Okay, here the tender bug signs, whenever we are checking a child is suffering, we will easily recognize that child is having pelvis deformity. Okay, here the one baby while walking, baby is limping. Okay, or the toe walking also is there. Okay, easily we will recognize those children. The longer the disorder goes undiagnosed, the more severe and clinical manifestations are difficulty to treat. But sometimes some parents was not rule out the child is suffering with this DDH. Okay, that time the treatment also is difficult is there. Okay, here that rule out, how did you rule out this DDH means Barlow and Ottolini Manuary. Okay, here they are using with these two procedures to rule out for that. Perform with the newborn in a quite relaxed state on a firm surface with the hip and the knees flexed at the 90 degrees angle. The positive test is palpable dislocation, that is called as Barlow or noticeable. Here the whenever the some dislocation Barlow, here they are noticed whenever the child is in the supine position. Okay, both knees are holding with the 90 degrees angle. That time they are easily recognizable the palpable dislocation of the hip joint. Okay, in the means hip dislocation or unstable, here that is 65 Barlow Ottolani. Okay, here that time here Ottolani, whenever the baby is unstable, that is 65 Barlow Ottolani, they are recognizing that is a positive sign. Okay, at 90 degrees only flexible, that time some whenever we hold the knees of the baby, some deformity we will easily recognize. Okay, that is called as Barlow and Ottolani Manuers. Okay, these are the two signs we will recognize in children with DDH conditions. And DDH Pavlik harness. Here the mostly they are using this brass. Pavlik harness means brass that are plates of the hip to flexion of the abducts. They are using this brass means some plates they are using for infants less than 3 months only. Okay, and the main action of this pelvic harness means to maintain the flexion of that flexible flexion and then abduction of the hips. Okay, because this dislocation is there, no, so they are using of this brass to protect the ball and socket joint, acetabulum of the femur at the ball and socket joint. Okay, itself. Okay, make hip goes back into the joints and keep there it through. Okay, worth to 23rd degrees day for 3 to 4 months they are using. Okay, one. Okay, and then next until x-ray shows a hip is stable, that until that time they are using this pelvic harnesses, that is a brass. Okay, they are using to keep that without displacement of the ball and socket joint they are using. Okay, next. Okay, till now we discussed about the conditions of feet and then hip. Okay, all of you clear?